I did assume that it was gonna hurt. I did assume that it was gonna feel really weird to have another human being latched on to my breast 24/7.
Like, why would I want my baby nursing off from my breast?
I had fear that I wasn't going to be able to, that he wasn't going to latch on, that I wasn't be able to supply the amount of nourishment and that he needed.
Once a mom successfully breastfeeds and they finally get it, they beam, they just glow. It's indescribable.
I learned how good it was for a child, and being a mother, I want what's best for my child, and so I decided I was going to try it anyways, and it was fine.
So I was proud to be able to feed him by myself without anything, like a bottle or anything. I could produce milk for him that he needed to grow.
It felt natural. It felt like how I was supposed to feed my child. It didn't feel weird to me at all.
Breastfeeding, it is the most natural thing in the world, you know. It's what was meant to be between, you know, a mother and a child.
It's so natural, and our bodies were made to do it. We're made to feed our children.
I mean, I feel really important when I'm breastfeeding because I feel like, you know, I'm giving him the nourishment that he needs. And when he looks at me, you know, you can tell how he feels towards me too, and that makes me feel really good.
When a baby is breastfed, the mom is tuned in to that baby's needs and cues and just naturally responds to her baby for nutrition and sustenance, but also for soothing and calming.
When I nurse Lily, I give her food, I give her comfort, I give her my love. She knows that that's us, that's our time, and it's just lovely.
I think breastfeeding is usually pretty relaxing for me too. I like to just sit there and stare at him, and sometimes, you know, sometimes I'll sing to him, sometimes we read, sometimes we just sit there and stare at each other, so. You could tell that he enjoys it too.
That bonding, that attachment, that security just helps babies get off to a great start.
I was 15 when I had my first child, and so I was still in high school. Everybody else is still doing the teenager things. You know, when I'm becoming a mom, being 15, it was hard for me to think of, you know, using my breasts as a feeding tool, basically.
A lot of my friends had children before I did, which is hard to believe because I am young, but none of them breastfed. They were all bottle feeding their children, and that's why I thought that's what I wanted to do, because that's just what I had seen.
Sometimes, as a new mom and being young, we worry that breastfeeding is going to tie us down, or we won't be able to do the things we want to do.
That's the best thing about breastfeeding, is you just feed them, nurse them until they're done. You don't have to measure out formula. They're getting everything they need, and they know when they're done and they're full.
It's just the mother and the baby, and you're there together, so it really is easier.
It's so convenient. People don't realize how convenient it is. It's really awesome.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
Feeding your baby formula instead of breast milk probably runs $2,000 to $3,000 a year.
It's one of those things you really have to consider is like, am I going to be able to afford to feed my baby if I choose to formula feed?
Breastfeeding doesn't cost a thing. It's amazing to be able to, you know, save that much money because it's free.
All these formulas say that they closest to breastfed milk, but there's nothing like it.
Formula will never be breast milk. It's not a living tissue. They can make all the claims they want on their cans, but it will never, ever be breast milk.
In its most simplest form, it's nutrition and feeding. It also is a way of providing nutrition that's based on interaction and relationships.
Our bond is unbelievable. I think it's, you know, when he nurses, I feel really close to him. I think that he, you know, he's learning to trust me, and he knows that I can meet his needs.
She gets that chance to kind of go off on her own, but then check back in with me when she's just needs that mommy time, which she knows that nursing is. Nursing is our mommy time.
Mom is with baby and baby is with mom, and the mom can read the baby's cues. That's a big part of attachment. The baby learns then trust because its needs are met quickly because the mother and baby are so in tune.
Babies are very smart, and they're actually born to breastfeed. They have all the equipment. They just need to practice it a little bit, just like they have legs and don't walk right away. Eventually they'll sit up and they'll pull up to a stand and they'll walk, and that's a process that takes many months, while breastfeeding really only takes about a week or two.
You finished? Patience is of uttermost importance when you're trying to breastfeed. You know, he's a month old, and sometimes it still takes us a couple minutes to get him latched on, and if I'm patient, he tends to not get frustrated easily, so.
Every mom and baby together, you know, is a unique breastfeeding couple, so they need to kind of have that time together and figure that out.
I think his father was like, "What are you doing?" And he was really weirded out by it at first, and he even said to me, "It feels really weird for my son to be sucking on your boob," because all throughout his life he thought of breasts as a sexual item, really, you know, something sexual.
This is a limited engagement. Then they go back to being everything they were before, and they get more credits to them now than they ever had.
Now he's very supportive of it, and he knows that his son's getting the best thing and everything, and it feels really good.
And when the partner sees this happening, it's just so real and so meaningful. They see their baby calm and quiet and settle, and then, you know, then he's eating and he grows, and so that, I think, helps transition into viewing the whole experience as this natural thing that it is.
It was hard doing it in front of people, breastfeeding, and my boyfriend's family wasn't as supportive as my family, so I felt especially uncomfortable.
I felt like I had the whole world against me.
They need to have enough information and be strong enough in themselves to be able to respond to that, and feel strongly enough about breastfeeding to sometimes do it in the face of others' lack of respect for it.
I'm modest about it. I will put a blanket over myself. You know, I'm sure people know what I'm doing, but they can't see what I'm doing.
People are not even realizing that they're seeing it because moms are good at it and are discreet.
Once you get over it, you're done, and it's an obstacle that is passed, and if you just keep continuing, it just gets better, I think, each day, and easier.
I stuck through it because I knew that's what was best for my baby, and I just stuck through it, and now everybody's, you know, "I'm so glad you stuck through it, you did so good," and, you know, everybody's very supportive of me breastfeeding.
A baby has maybe 100, 200 things it needs done: diapering, holding, burping, talking to it, singing, rocking, loving it. There's only one the dad isn't able to do, is breastfeed. He can do all the other things the mom can do.
It was really good for the both of us to go through that experience together, and he was really involved. He was close to us while we were nursing. It wasn't like he was 20 feet across the room and just watching us. He sat right next to us. He held our hand. He you know, stroked our hair, and like it was nice. It was cute.
I made sure that, you know, she was comfortable, and, you know, they were comfortable, and if, like, whatever they needed, I was there to help him out. So I just went headstrong into it and tried to find out as much information about it as possible before I did it, and I made sure I did it the right way.
You want this one?
Support is very important when you're trying to breastfeed, but it's also important to know that even if you don't have the support of, you know, family or friends, there are other people out there to be supportive of you.
I did attend a couple groups with other breastfeeding mothers as I was pregnant and heard their stories.
If a young parent comes in while they're pregnant and they get to see another young parent breastfeeding, they begin to realize they can do it. It begins to normalize it for them.
One of my close friends who brought me to the support groups, she was also breastfeeding her son, and they were just, their bond was just awesome, and I wanted to have the same bond with my son, so.
It was nice to be able to have other people say, no, you're doing what you need to do. You know, stick by it and just keep doing what you're doing, and it's going to turn out great, because it did.
What's out the window? The attachment bond is something that no one else can have. It doesn't go away. You never forget about it, and it will always be there. I think we still have a strong bond today because of that.
The bond that you build when you're breastfeeding is something that's you and your child are going to carry on for their lifetime. I think it's going to help them because they learn to trust me. They learn, you know, to be close to me.
And it all adds up to have this healthier child who's going to interact with us on a different level.
And when they see their baby growing and thriving and doing really well, they can take credit for that.
I feel like I've accomplished a lot. And, you know, just, you know, when the baby looks into my eyes and everything, I know that it was worth it.
And it's wonderful when you see that with a mom, that she's achieved that for herself and her baby.
At least try it, give it a chance. Don't just blow it off and say it's weird and I'm young and don't want to do it.
Go out there and do it and feel confident that you're doing, you know, the best thing in the world for your baby.
I knew I wanted to do it, and if you know you want to do it and you tell yourself you're going to do it, you can do it.